Hello, this is Dee from dmiddleton.com. Welcome to my year-long Thorough Declutter series. Today we will be defining the word clutter, find out what it means, and how to get rid of it. In my series, we declutter 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Today we will be looking at and using several excerpts from the book Lose the Clutter, Lose the Weight by Peter Walsh. If you'll look in the link in the video description, find out how you can download this book for free. Now let's look at what Peter Walsh has to say about clutter. The notion of clutter has different meanings. A household scene that looks like squalor to one might be just a bit of a mess to another. In this book, I'll use the word clutter a lot, and I'd like you to understand what I mean by this word. Dr. Jean Arnold and I see eye to eye on 3 factors that turn household objects into clutter. Number 1, clutter can be defined as a lot of stuff. As you cast your eye around the room, it's hard to make sense of all the visual noise of colors and shapes. Merely owning an abundance of possessions doesn't necessarily mean that your home is cluttered, but it's a good start. Number 2, clutter is defined as something that's out of place. Here's where clutter begins. If you see a fork in the middle of the floor, you know it doesn't belong there. That's because forks have a very specific home, and it's not on the floor. A pile of clothes in the shower, where a person belongs, looks like clutter. Cases of sodas on the washing machine, where clothes should temporarily go, looks like clutter as well. Number 3, clutter is seen as something that's untidy. A beautifully arranged bookshelf with hundreds and hundreds of books doesn't look like clutter. It looks like a nice collection, right? Whereas if the books are falling out of the bookcase and some of them are stacked and things are sticking out of the books, it starts to look like clutter since it's not tidy. How clutter is defined. The totally uncluttered definition: clutter is too much stuff scattered in the wrong place. In the United States, consumer spending makes up about 70% of the nation's overall economic activity. The same is true in other developed countries. Of all the spending that goes on, everyday consumers account for most of it. As a result, the forces that run the place where you live, the government, big businesses, the media, keep a very, very close eye on whether you, the consumer, are spending enough. Did you catch that? The powers that be don't necessarily view you as a citizen, a voter, or a person. You're a consumer. You're someone who buys products, then consumes them. After you eat it, use it up, or wear it out, you buy more. The typical consumer spent $98 a day last month, pushing its average to the highest in 6 years. That doesn't count things like your mortgage, car payment, or utility bills. That $98 is a measure of purchases at places like coffee shops, convenience stores, department stores, and online retailers. If you are contributing to this daily flow of commerce, the newscast will speak of you in glowing terms. Your neighbors may look at you with envy, but this spending, I fear, will continue to keep you overweight, overcluttered, and underhappy. Now let's look at those needless acquisitions. We also apply powerful emotions to the things we buy or receive as gifts. And once one of these hard-hitting emotions get attached to an item, even a cheap, ridiculous item you should never treasure, it surrounds that object like a magnetic field, and it sticks to it. Here are some examples. Some motivations behind our spending and our giving. Number 1, maybe you can't say no. People express their love, their respect, and their admiration by giving stuff. You get married, you have a baby, or you move into a new home, and people will buy you things. When you simply invite people over for a meal, they'll bring you something, even if it's just a bottle of wine. and you have to make room for this gift somewhere. Another motivation behind our spending could be that you buy stuff for your family to show your affection. Maybe you buy an anniversary gift for your spouse, as well as birthday gifts, holiday gifts, a Mother's or Father's Day gift, cheering up gifts, and gifts just because. You buy stuff for your kids on important holidays, gifts for good behavior, gifts for good grades, gifts for when they're sick, gifts because you feel guilty that you were impatient that one time, and gifts because you want them to hug you. Sometimes you buy stuff to feel better. How often are you fully and completely free of unpleasant sensations? You're well rested and well fed. You're not sleepy, hungry, or thirsty. Your mind is occupied and you're not bored. You're happy. You're not annoyed with someone. You're not feeling bummed out or worried about a work deadline. Nothing itches. You're thoroughly pleased and satisfied. Those moments are rare. Usually something is bothering you, even just a little. If you're like most people, the things that you can do to fix the problem or at least distract you from it is to buy something. Maybe you go to the vending machine for a pack of gum. Maybe you type in the first few letters of your favorite online retailer, and the computer takes you the rest of the way there. Or maybe you hop in the car and drive to the store, daydreaming the whole way. These purchases that fix a momentary unpleasantness create a river of stuff that flows into our homes. I can always find room somewhere, you think, but you know you can't because you're out of room. But your home isn't cluttered and out of room only because you bought and received too much stuff. It's also because you held on to stuff when it was no longer doing you any good or serving any real purpose. Those excerpts were taken from the book Lose the Clutter, Lose the Weight by Peter Walsh. Again, look in the video description and find out how you can get this audiobook for free. Now that we've looked at clutter and our spending and we've defined clutter, let's look at some of the benefits to decluttering. Number one, less stuff equals less to clean and keep organized. Another benefit to decluttering is more appreciation for what you have. If you have minimal belongings, you'll care for them differently than if you had plenty at your disposal. Number three, you'll experience less chaos and stress. Minimalism has the benefit of lots of empty space, or in other words, more breathing room. Decluttering means more money you get to keep. If you cherish and care for what you already have, you'll find you spend less and keep more of your hard earned cash. Decluttering brings mental clarity and more energy. You get to do more of the things you love if you aren't constantly working to clean and care for a large amount of possessions. An added benefit to decluttering is that you can bless someone else if you have good items that you need to rehome. Decluttering means you'll shop more thoughtfully. You'll be more likely to only purchase what you really need if you are fully aware of what you already have. Like pulling weeds from your garden, you will begin to appreciate the visual improvement your decluttering efforts are going to create. It is gratifying to look over a job and feel a sense of accomplishment. By decluttering your home, you're creating visual and actual peace. Have you ever completed a task that involved a huge visual improvement? Number nine, decluttering will take time, but you will gain the time back. You will gain the time back if you don't refill the space you cleared, because it takes far less time to clean a space that is free from extra stuff. And finally, number 10, you will begin to enjoy more pleasant relationships with the ones you love who share your space. It is far easier to cuddle up with little ones and read a book if the books are neatly organized and there's a clean spot to sit and snuggle. What if you could eliminate the clutter for good? I designed this year-long Declutter series to help you slowly and permanently declutter your entire home. You will receive a daily declutter task for the specific room we are working on. We will then move step by step through the process to declutter every room and every space in your home. Currently, we are working on the first bathroom. Your daily task for today, May 11th, 2022, is to declutter your hair products. Here are a few tips. Number one, declutter any unwanted items. Number two, get rid of any hair products that you haven't used in a year. Number three, declutter any that are dried out or empty. Now let's look at a few more tips to keep you going as you declutter. Number one, you'll only spend time on your specific daily task. Number two, work to not get sidetracked or distracted. Number three, work within a time of day that you have the most energy and stamina. Listen to your body and work at decluttering when you feel the most alert and energized. Also, avoid thinking too long about whether to keep or discard an item. This is one specific way you can be ruthless when decluttering. And number five, I want you to try to avoid cleaning during your declutter. Getting rid of clutter is the priority, and cleaning can be accomplished later. Now let's look at some supplies we'll need. Number one, you'll need boxes, preferably ones you can donate. I like to avoid using plastic storage bins because you may be tempted to just store the items and never part with them. Number two, you'll need some sturdy trash bags. And three, you'll need a marker or a pen to label your boxes. Now we'll look at 5 simple steps to declutter any space. Number one, we start by eliminating trash first. Number two, sort your items by category if you need to, so you can see what you have. Number three, get rid of duplicate items, broken items, outgrown clothing or shoes, anything you never plan to use again. Number four, box up your donations and trash or recycle the rest. And finally, number five, select a charity to donate your items. Some will do an at-home pickup that you may be able to schedule online. Leave a comment below and let me know what you are decluttering today. You can also head over to dmiddleton.com to subscribe and get your free homemaking ebook. The book we've mentioned, Lose the Clutter, Lose the Weight, can also be obtained for free, the audio version, if you will click on the link in this video description. You can also find my declutter printables and deep cleaning printables over at dmiddleton.com.